Story, so I want to record it. This is a story about Reb Yisroel Salanter, the night on Simchas Torah. So it says, Reb Yisroel, somebody, this is the 3 days you told me about the story. I guess it was Mekuba from Reb Yisroel Salanter, that the Simchas Torah came, and in the Beis Medrash Reb Yisroel, everybody was in high spirits, and everybody was dancing and having a good time. And then they saw Reb Yisroel sitting down on the side, and he was sitting and crying bitterly. Yisroel Salanter was sitting by that kafas. He was sitting and crying bitterly. So everybody was really shocked. So one of his main talmidim, Reb Yisroel went over to him and asked him, "Why are you crying?" He's saying, "I'll tell you. All the Simcha made me sad because when I think about how important Simchas Torah is and how significant Torah is, I think about how I messed up. I didn't teach the Torah properly. And how much I didn't actually do what I was supposed to do. And as a result, I feel upset. I feel that I started crying because I feel I upset. It wasn't the Yitzhak Machil. So Beis came to him and said, "Listen, you shouldn't feel so bad. Chas v'sholom, you do tremendous things for Klal Yisrael. You would accomplish tremendous things for Torah, for Musar, obviously. You've done great things. How can you possibly feel bad?" So Rebbe went to Rebellion and said to Rebellion, "You know what, Rebellion, you consoled me. Makes sense. What about you? Why are you happy?" So the CDA says, "Chas v'sholom." Reb Yisroel was not trying to make Rebellion feel bad, but he was trying to explain. You have to think about the Simcha. Why should you be b'Simcha? Well, this Rebellion started crying as well, and if Rebellion started crying, Reb Yisroel was crying before, so everybody started crying. So the whole shul starts crying. Everybody's miserable, bitter. This is the officials of Torah, right? Everybody is miserable, bitter.
That's why they're happy.
Well, yeah. And feels horrible. And we weren't Yitzhak of learning, of being devoted to Torah. So Reb Yisroel says, "You know what?" He says, he got up, he said, "This is our Simcha. This is why I should be happy. Because out of this crying, I realized how fundamental and how basic our connection is to Torah. Because only somebody who wants the Torah and has this ambition to connect it with a tremendous drive can actually sit and cry that he's not Yotzes Chiyuv, that he's not Mekayim in Torah. This anguish which we have is a clear-cut raya that we're connected to Torah. Because who ever heard a Jew saying that, the way he puts it, it's a very nice way he puts it, he says, Mishu lo shema pam Yehudi nanach. Who did hear? Who has not heard a Jew groaning, moaning? That he cries that he's not crying about his life not being how difficult it is. He's crying that his life doesn't let him live Torah the way he wants to live Torah. In other words, people, Jews, when they're b'tzar, they're not b'tzar because they are in anguish. They're b'tzar because they can't fulfill the Torah. They want to fulfill the Torah. And he says that is a simcha. Our simcha is that we feel when something goes wrong, oi, I can't be doving in Hashem the way I want to be. I can't be doving in Torah the way I want to be. And that, he says, out of the crying itself comes the simcha. Because from the crying itself, you realize how chashuv Torah is to you. And the tsar Am Yisrael has over things which go wrong is not because things go wrong in and of themselves, but because we feel that when things go wrong, we can't connect to Kodesh Baruch Hu the way we really want to connect to Hashem. I was thinking that in my Hasidim, they say there's a difference between Atzvus and Dikaon. There's a difference between sadness and depression. Depression is always bad, which is supposed to avoid depression at all costs. But sadness is not a contradiction to happiness. Atzvus and Simcha can go together. Not to depression, but Atzvus and Simcha go together. And the reason Atzvus and Simcha goes together is because when a person feels sad, like Reb Yisroel say, a person feels sad because there's something missing in their life which they really want. And when a Jew feels sad, what they feel sad about is that there's something which is missing, which is my connection to Kodesh Baruch Hu, and that in itself is a simcha. That I feel that this thing is lacking for me, that I want this, and I need it, and I wish I had it. That is a tremendous sense of simcha, that we have this tremendous sense of connection that we want to connect to. And there's a Gazar which says, Tzara quotes the Zohar all the time, it says, Leika nahira kehidim nothing migoch HaSho'eivah. It says, no darkness, no light, like that light which comes out of darkness. The two pshatim in the Zohar. The simple shot, and I think what's the emerson shot. The simple shot is, when you come out of a dark tunnel, it's very dark, and you come out of the tunnel at the end, and it's light, that light is very sweet. You enjoy the light very much, because it was dark this whole time, and you come out, and it's a very geschmack. But the other shot is the darkness is the fabric from which you're supposed to weave the light. In other words, the Kodesh Baruch Hu gave us darkness in order to make light out of it, and there's no light like the light that comes out of darkness. And the whole idea of dark is that we should use the dark to make the light. And of course, there's a tremendous amount of darkness all the time in the world, but the idea of darkness is given to us, like the Rambam says. The night was given to us. The reason we have nighttime is because you learn Torah better at night. So the reason we have darkness, not just literal darkness, but figurative darkness, is in order to make light out of it. And the idea of a Simcha at a time like this, when we have so much Atzvus in the world, so much difficulty in the world, and so much Abelos in the world, is obviously to take this darkness and make from it light. Now, the type of Simcha that you have at a time like this is not necessarily the type of Simcha you have at a Hoshannah, when you have a tremendous amount of exuberant joy necessarily. It's easier to have that what I call sason, that type of, it's not what I call sason, what Florence say sason, which is an exuberant joy at different times. But Simcha is something different than sason. Simcha is a sense of inner significance, meaning, and a sense of having a connection to something great in life. There's a famous secular Jewish philosopher, his name was Viktor Frankl. He wrote many books about how you can find meaning even in a concentration camp and other places where a person is in great difficulty and very dire straits. And he said a person can find meaning anywhere. A person can find meaning if their life is meaningful and they have a quest and a mission and a purpose, then they can find Simcha even in the depths of despair. Because there is something special and unique there which makes their life worth living, and that's something to cherish, something to feel good about. And there's many types of Simcha. It says, one of the types of Simcha is called Ditzah. Ditzah is, in Aramaic, means to pierce. Datzbomide means, it's connected to the word Ne'itza, which means to pierce or break through something. And Ditzah also is connected to dancing. And because in dancing you like pound on the ground, right? You jump up and down and pound on the ground. And Ditzah is when things are difficult, to break through that difficulty and feel Simcha, and that's Ditzah. And sometimes we do that in Simchas Torah especially. We do it with dancing, because dancing, even if a person is in a negative state of mind, the dancing can arouse a person to feel a sense of Simcha. In this sense, despite everything which is wrong, despite everything which is difficult, on the contrary, because things are difficult, because things are wrong, I feel that I have this connection, that my life is meaningful. And there was something powerful, which somebody said in a video about a video which I saw today. The video, they were talking about how to be so back to Simchas Torah. He said, and I think it was in Stay Road. I have the story here. It was, there were... there was a family of four which left their house. A very famous story, but it's worth repeating. Family of four left their house, the husband and wife, their two daughters. One was 6 years old, one was 3 years old. And the terrorists came in to Stay Road, and they killed the parents. The parents were killed in the car. And the 6-year-old and the 3-year-old were left in the car with their dead parents. And they were sitting there, and they're waiting for somebody to help. They actually have this recorded, which is very scary. And they're waiting for somebody to come and help them out. And finally somebody comes and says, a guy named Yair, a policeman, says, he's from the police. So the 6-year-old said, Atem Shel Yisrael? Are you from the Jews? And the guy answered, Kain Chamuda, Kain. Yes. And it's the amazing thing that of all the questions she could ask at that time, and the 6-year-old girl, the question she asked, Atem Shel Yisrael, are you from Yisrael? And she asked, are you safe? Are you police? Are you this? Are you that? Are you relatives? Atem Shel Yisrael. And the minute the answer was yes, she went with this policeman. And that's an amazing thing. Am Yisrael has. I don't think any other nation has that. We have just, if you're Atem Shel Yisrael, a part of this family, a part of this connection, and even the deepest depths of despair, even when things are going wrong, even when their two parents are dead in the front seat of the car, there's always this connection. That's Ashreinu Matov Chokenu, this connection. These are not religious people, but Atem Shel Yisrael, that in of itself shows Am Yisrael is special. And it sometimes takes, because we're a contentious people, and we have difficulty getting along sometimes it takes the tragedy to show us how amazing a people we are, how phenomenal a people we are, how connected we are, and how we can derive from each other all that koyach, all that strength, and how we do derive from that, and how we assume that it's there. If Atem Shel Yisrael, that means we're one big family. There are a few other things, of course, which we can focus on about this past year. The Nisim, which happened, the Atzvus, which happened. There's lots of lots of things which we can focus on. But this thing, in and of itself, there was a pastor in Denmark during World War II. You know, Denmark did save all their Jews in the end. No. But so one of the pastors in Denmark said, one of the Christian pastors said, "I tell you, I'd rather die with the Jews than live with the Nazis." And there's this idea that yes, we are suffering. We always suffer. We suffer, and that's how sometimes we create a greater Kiddush Hashem with our suffering than when we are successful. How we don't have to suffer. But we understand that we're special, and we're better, and we're significant, and we're connected. And that connection, even when out of Atzvus we come to Simcha. Even at a time when there's Avelus, we also come to Simcha. There's a saying in Chabad. I don't know how much I like it generally, but I think it's very appropriate here. There's a saying in Chabad. It says Mishenichnas of Mimatim B'Simcha, right? So in Chabad they say Mishenichnas of Mimatim of B'Simcha. When you come of comes, you're Mimatin, but you have to do B'Simcha. It's a very strange thing, right? What does it mean, Mimatin over B'Simcha? So in Chabad, by the way, they make siyumim every night of the 9 days. They don't eat meat. They just make the siyum. So the idea is that by us, even in Avelus, we find Simcha. In our Avelus, we find Simcha, Mamish, in personal Avelus, because we know that the Neshama is going to Olam Haba. We know that there's a better place where they go, and then Neshama, they went to their menucha. We're here to mourn their loss. But in any type of atzvus, in any type of avelus, there's this idea that we can find in the mimatin, in the diminished circumstances, in the difficulty, we can find the simcha. We can find the hora which comes out of the HaSho'eivah. So there's something which we should have to speak. We should speak again before our kofis, but something which we should realize already now. That this is the idea. How do we come to Simchas Torah this year? Come to Simchas Torah this year knowing that we have an extraordinary nation, we have extraordinary people, and our whole tsar is, can we make a greater Kiddush Hashem? Can we davik in each other more? Can we be davik on Kodesh Baruch Hu more? Like Reb Yisroel said, because we cry, because we have atzvus, because we know how significant we are, even if we fall short, we should be b'simcha. And that's true about all of Am Yisrael, no matter where we are. We should all be zoicha that this Simchas Torah, we realize, yes, we face difficulty. Yes, we're in Avelus for 1,200 people who were killed last year. But out of this tsar, which we have, we realize our significance, we realize what Am Yisrael is, we realize what Atzvus is, we realize our desire for a connection to Kodesh Baruch Hu and for a Kiddush Hashem, and this is how we find the Simcha. So again, that's the Ditzah. It penetrates, even though we have this fog of difficulty, we make sure and deliberately in our dancing, in our kofas, find the way to find it's a cliche, but to find the silver lining in the cloud. To find how that Chanukah is in the HaSho'eivah, and how we can find, and that in that, a tremendous desire to connect our Kodesh Baruch Hu, and to try and find during this coming years coming year, from this Simchas Torah to the next Simchas Torah, more ways to connect to Hashem individually as a nation. Of course, we hope the Gula comes. We always, we're supposed to bring about and the BS Mashiach came here, amen. But it's more important than that we have to find a way that each one of us can connect to Am Yisrael more, connect to Torah more, feel that desire for connection, and feel that Oisher Ashreinu Matov Chalkeinu in that connection. We should be Zoicha Good Yom.